Hi, you guys, it's Carrie Adam with Running Moms, and welcome to this webinar, Running Postpartum and What You Need to Know. I'm Carrie Adam, I'm a physiotherapist, a health and a running coach, and I take busy, tired moms and women who think they can't fit in exercise and God forbid they could ever run, and I transform them into strong, confident, and fit women who can. I work with them to train smarter and not just harder as they get started, as they get stronger, as they get faster, as they get to 5K, 10K, 21K, and anywhere in between so that they can kick ass in life and in their running. And welcome. I'm excited to have you guys here. And why did I create this talk? I created it because I want to show you how you can start running after having kids. I want you to be injury free. I want you to keep running if you're a runner. I want you to get started running if that's something that you want to do, and I want you to be smart about that. I want you to get strong. I want you to get fit. I want you to feel confident. And I don't want you to get sidelined with injury and broken and left feeling broken from the traumas of pregnancy and birth that we're sort of left with in the aftermath. I want to put an end to injuries. I want to put an end to the normalization of urinary incontinence. I want to put an end to pelvic weakness and teach you how you can address that and be stronger and get back out there. I want to teach you about core, about your body, about how it relates to your pelvic floor and the associated issues and dysfunction that comes along with these issues that so many of us have, that we really ignore, and we do normalize them. We all do. I know what can happen when you train smarter and not just harder. And I know when done right and when you're armed with some education, you can get back to running safe and strong. And that's what I want you to do today. That's what we're going to talk about. And I want, if you can get up running smart and intelligently, and you're patient, running can reward you for a long, long time. You will feel amazing and you can feel light on your feet again. And imagine what that would feel like for you. You get up early, you go for a run, you're energized, you're light, you feel strong when you're done so that you can come home hungry for a day of positive energy, and you feel fast and you feel happy and you feel fit and your clothes fit great. You love what you see when you look in the mirror. You're confident. Imagine what that would mean for you in your life as you prep for babies or as you recover from babies, because I know that that's not easy for all of us, and it does take some work to get there. But if you put the work in and you learn and you listen and you adjust, you can get there. So I'm excited that you guys are here, and you're in the right place here if you want to start running, but you're not sure if you're ready. If you are up and running, but it's hard and you have some weird stuff going on that you're kind of ignoring and you know you should probably look into a little bit more. If you're currently sidelined with an injury of any kind, if you know that you have pelvic issues and pelvic weaknesses or diastasis recti and you wonder if you're ever going to be able to get back to running again. If you're pregnant or you're planning for kids and you just want to start to educate yourself on what's coming and how you can prep for your pregnancy and your birth. And if you're ready to just learn more about your body and you're ready to start listening and respecting it. So who am I and why should you listen to me? Well, I'm Carrie. I told you I'm a physiotherapist. I'm a running coach and I'm a health coach. And more importantly than that, I'm a mom and I'm a runner. And I ran in my pregnancies until I was about 24 weeks. And then I had to go pee too much all the time when I was running. So I knew that my body was telling me it's time to stop. And because I'm a physio and I'm very in tune with my body and I ran a lot before my pregnancies, I was able to listen to that and adjust to it naturally. I am not a higher trained women's health pelvic physio, but I've done a lot of my own research and I'm able to look at the research, look at the blogs, look at the information that's out there, put it together, understand it, and share it with you so that I can triage you out when you come to me with questions about this stuff, right? I can send you out to who you need to go, and I know what resources you need to be looking into. That's our family, and we moved to Costa Rica in 2015 for about 8 months to slow down, reconnect with each other, and reconnect with my own body and my own sanity. And I did a lot of running when I was in Costa Rica. It was a big part of my life. And that's sort of when I got into all this pelvic health stuff, because I took the time to learn about my body and what it was telling me. And then that picture there is me running a trail half marathon, an Xterra half marathon, and that is why I run. I love the adventure of running. I love the feeling of running. I love the high of running. It's sort of that only part of my life that is just about me, that I feel alive and free. And I don't want to give up that adventure. I don't want to give that up. So I had to adjust my training. I had to learn. So that's why I'm here. That's why I'm teaching you guys. And so my story is, right, so I ran to 24 weeks, and then I knew enough to take back my running. I did a lot of walking. I did a lot of hill walking. I did pole walking. I actually got stronger in other ways because I started to strengthen my core without even realizing the benefits of that. And after my first baby, I got back to running. I don't know how long it took, a couple months. And I did it slowly and progressively and listened. And I remember training. I ran my first half marathon within a year of having that first baby. And I remember one of our training runs. I remember this very specifically. And we were doing some sprint work. And I think it was like 4 1,000 meter sprints or something. On that very last sprint, I could see the end. And I was racing a friend. And we were all running moms, okay? And I could see it. And then all of a sudden, I peed my pants. And I had to stop. I'd stop dead. I had no idea what happened or why it happened. And I just brushed it aside, and I was like, oh, whatever. I guess that's just a part. That's our bodies now, and that's what you said. That's just what we deal with. And looking back to that moment, I think, oh my God, how did I not know? How did I not know that was my first sign of my pelvic dysfunction? It came when I started to push myself, when I started to work harder. And so then I had my second baby, and I got back to running quickly again. And then I started into these boot camps, November Project boot camps, which are awesome. And I love the November Project. But coming off of kids, I wasn't ready for the intensity. My body wasn't ready for that intensity of planks and crunches that we always did. And I went week after week, and I noticed my belly button was popping out. It was getting worse. You know, my kids were... I was back at work, so my second baby was over a year, and I've been fine, but also my belly button's getting bigger, and I'm like, oh my God, I've got to look into this. And of course, it's a diastasis recti, so I had diastasis recti. Physiotherapist, we're not trained on any of this stuff, so that's what stimulated my learning and looking back and what I'm going to share with you. So I had to adjust my training, and I did. I listened to my body. I adjusted what I needed. I met myself where I was, and I kept running through it because I needed to. I'm a runner, and I'm going to run. And I know that there's women out there that are exactly the same. If you are a runner, you are going to run. And I want to support you to do that because I get it. I get why you run. Oh, there's one more picture. This is that epic trail run, trail half marathon. I just love it. Look at that. I of course I'm going to run. I'm going to do this again because this is life to me. This is living. I'm not willing to give this up, and I don't want you to either. So when I asked my group, why do you run? You know, this is why people run. This is why you're runners. You know, I run for sanity. I started running after my third was born. It was easy to get away for a quick run when my babies were little. Now that my youngest is 4, I run because I found out that I loved running. What do I run for? What don't I run for? To feel happy, to show my kids that physical activity is a good thing, to de-stress, to clear my mind when I have too much to think about, to prevent disease, overall health and wellness. It clears my head for sure. Definitely my kind of self-care because it's time alone and helps me clear the clutter and focus on what the rest of my day holds. I feel alive, like I'm using my body for what it was engineered to do. It is low cost and time to myself to think. I used to do it because I thought it was the best calorie burner, but now I know strength training more than rivals it. Pure stress relief. It also taught me that I'm capable of pushing myself so much further than I ever dreamed possible. So we're not giving running up. I don't want you to give running up. Running is just as much about your physical health as it is about your mental health. And I know for a lot of us, if we don't run, our mental and emotional health would be in trouble. And we need that. You need that. Your family needs you to have that. So I want you to be running safe and strong. And it's easy to get to running. A lot of people start running after kids because it's free. It's time efficient. You just put your clothes on, go out the door and go. You're out and back in 30 minutes. There's no other exercise program that you can just go and be outside and get back so quickly. And your baby can come right along with you. You know, get a jogging stroller. If you don't have a jogging stroller, you need to get one. You're buying yourself freedom. It gets you outside. That in itself is incredible. You want to be outside. It takes very little gear, and so many people do it. They get started on it to lose weight. So today we're going to go through a bit of a Women's Health Anatomy 101, just to, let you know what's going on in your body and the areas of concern after having babies and as you're pregnant. We're going to talk to the signs and symptoms of dysfunction that you need to know. We're going to talk about how your anatomy links to your running, about when can you get back up and running after babies, and how to get started running again. So 10 things you can do to get back up and running safe and strong. And my intention for today is to teach you about yourself and to support you back to running and to support you to get to know your body, to get back control of your body. You can get back out running safe and strong. You can actually be stronger and faster than you ever were before without feeling overwhelmed, injured, or embarrassed about what's going on. And I don't want you to give up on running or feel lost or overweight or unhappy with your body and your progress. And there's lots of running programs out there. There's lots of running communities on Facebook, and they're great, but there's not a lot of talk about the issues that we have after babies. And just recently in a very big running community I'm in, someone asked if there's any difference in the program for men and women, or is it exactly the same? And everybody's, oh my God, of course it's the same. Men and women are built the same. We all have the same muscles. We all have this. And my thought was like, no, if you've had a baby, it's different. Like, yes, some of the exercises are the same, but what you need to be in tune with and what your risks are and what your potential dysfunctions and injury risks are so different. And it wasn't addressed. And I think that's what she was trying to get out of the group, and she wasn't. So my running communities, if you haven't joined a Running Moms private community, please do. The link is down there somewhere. I'll post it again for you. But you can talk about this stuff there. We get it, and I'm in there all the time, and I can help you get through some of those issues. So I want you guys in there. We talk about that kind of stuff. At least I want to. I'm trying to get people to get talking and get open about it, because it's not just about the miles, and it's not just about the events, and it's not just about all of that stuff. It's about the little things that you're feeling and how you get back in tune with yourself. And those other groups and other programs, they're not setting you up for success, and they're only going to leave you feeling defeated and injured. And our group is that I'm trying to connect and create a group of like-minded, supportive women who run or want to get running. We all get the struggle. We don't have time to foam roll after or go to yoga classes to stretch, but we're going to talk about what we do have time and how we can combat some of those things. And you're going to feel more connected, is what I hope, because some of these other groups, I can't do all that stuff. I'd like to. I want to go to yoga, and I want to spend all night foam rolling and massaging my legs, but like, how am I going to do that with 2 kids crawling all over me? So we talk about real life. We do random health challenges because I want you to be mindful of the small things that you can do to take care of yourself, because those are the things that we can do in our hectic, busy lives. And they're the things we need to, because those small daily habits are going to be what gets you through. They're going to be what keeps you successful. And I often run training groups complete with the core exercises you need, the strength exercises you need to fit into your life. I have gentle progressions. They're not aggressive. And we talk about diet and mindset, because it's not just about running. Running more is not running better. I want you to be successful. So today, we're going to get started with women's health. I've got a lot to cover, you guys. So let's just get started. So Women's Health Anatomy 101, the pelvic floor and the abdominals undergo the biggest changes during pregnancy and birth, leaving your body in a very compromised state. You might think you're okay, but you need to learn about this stuff and actually really tune into your body, because more often than not, there's stuff going on that you just don't realize. So many of us have issues in our pelvic floor and our abdominals. So part 1 is the pelvic floor. So this is your pelvic. These are your pelvic bones. This is your spine. I don't know if you can see me pointing at that. At the top is your spine, and at the front is your pubic bone. And then the wings at the side is your pelvis. So I don't know if you can see me. I can't see myself there, unfortunately, but we're looking here. So that's your pelvic floor, and it's at the bottom, right? Your pelvic floor is like a bowl at the bottom, and on top of it, it holds your uterus, your bladder, your intestines. When you're growing a baby, it supports the weight of that growing baby. It helps stabilize and support the spine and your posture. It assists during birthing, and it's involved in sexual and bodily functions like bowel and bladder control. Those muscles control the conscious control of you releasing your bowels and bladders, your bowels and bladder. And I think it's like I've read that it's like a trampoline. You know, it's kind of springy, and so it can hold the extra weight as your baby's growing. And some other facts about your pelvic floor is, you know, it's a whole bunch of different muscles in there. It's not just one. It's a combination of muscles that are interconnected and working together. You can't see it, but you can control these muscles like any other muscles in your body. Your biceps, you can control these muscles, the tension in them. And in pregnancy and birth, this can stretch up to 3 times its size. And the pelvic floor is something easy to miss, and you think it's not an issue, and you don't think about it until it is an issue, and it's all you can think about. I heard that little quote from Kim Voptin in an interview I watched of hers the other day, and she's the owner of Bellies Inc., and she's a fitness doula, and she's great. So part 2 is the abdomen to the front. So you can see your 6-pack muscles there. Abdomen's otherwise known as your 6-pack or your mummy tummy. And it includes your abdominals at the front and your back muscles at the back. And the function of your abdomen is to stabilize your spine for movement throughout your day. So your core is not about doing crunches. It's not. That is not what it's made for. So when you think about getting your abdominals and your abdomen strong again, I want you to forget the crunches. It doesn't mean crunches. The function of that core is to stabilize you when you're doing things, when you're lifting things, when you're carrying your kids, when you're nursing your kids, when you're running. That core needs to be strong and stable so that your limbs can move, carry, and push you forward. And that is the function of your core. And there's superficial muscles, which is your big, long muscle, your rectus abdominis. It goes from up in your sternum all the way down to your pubic bone. And then there's muscles underneath that are small and super important for stabilizing your core, your back, your abdomen, and keeping. The function of that is also to keep your abdominal contents inside your abdominal cavity, okay? So it is commonly dysfunctional in pregnancy and post, and we call that diastasis recti. And if you haven't heard of diastasis recti, please Google search it, look up Bellies Inc., look into Mama Lion Strong. She's got some great stuff on diastasis recti as well, because it is super common and not talked about. And what is it? It's that's the top one is normal. That's what your 6-pack muscle looks like underneath there. And it's all connected to your midline, okay? So it's coming up from here right down to your midline. And as your baby grows, so I've got a little ball. I hope you can see me. I can't see what I'm videotaping here, but let's pretend I'm pregnant here, you guys. Okay, so you can see how it was flat and now it's stretching out. So what happens when it stretches out? Well, those muscles start to spread because they're tight, right? So what happens is, again, I got this from Kim Voptin. I didn't make this up. I watched her do this in a video, and I'm just showing you because I think it's a perfect analogy. So now your big, strong 6-pack muscles have separated from that midline as your body changes and grows with that baby. You're also adjusting. Your pelvis is looser, and it's also adjusting to the growing of your baby, the shifting of your center of balance forward, and your pelvic floor muscles are not in their best position. They're stretched, they're loaded, they're compromised at the same time. And so then you have your baby pops up the bottom, and what happens is you're left with this, and this hasn't tightened up in those first weeks, and sometimes it doesn't tighten up if we're not paying attention to it, and you're left like this. And because your pelvic floor muscles run all the way up to the front and attach to the same bone that this attaches to, if this is loosey-goosey and not holding your pelvis where it needs to be, when your pelvic floor can't function properly either, because it doesn't have a stable base to pull from, and so your whole pelvis is left in a really compromised position. So the discus recti often is associated with pelvic floor dysfunction together, and that's just really important to understand, and it's really common, and you can see there's different ways you can be separated at your belly, and when that's open, again, like I said, it holds your abdominal contents in. So when you start doing those crunches after baby, thinking that's how you're going to get that flat stomach again and get your six-pack back, what's going to happen is all that pressure goes down into your belly, and then it pushes out, and you're going to get this bulge there and an outie belly button, which was my signal, right? That something was not supporting my abdominal contents, okay? So that your abdomen's actually pushing out, and you can see in the pictures, you can have the separation below your belly button, above your belly button, just at your belly button, or like all the way down. So you need to assess yourself for that. And I'll post a video where you can do a quick and dirty self-assessment. But if you suspect any of these things, you want to get yourself to a pelvic floor physiotherapist. So some of the signs and symptoms of dysfunction of your pelvic floor and or abdominal wall is low back pain. Chronic, undiagnosed, aching low back pain that's just bothering you all the time. Pelvic pain, hip or even knee pain. You know, if this stuff isn't working and it's not supporting you and you're running, you're going to end up with you're not in alignment, you're not going to be running with good form, and it might manifest down in your knee or in your ankle when it really is coming from that weak core. Other signs, you leak during your workouts. You pee your pants a little or a lot, or you have that urge to pee a lot, but when you actually get there, you don't have much flow coming. You can have a heaviness or a bulge, a feeling of a bulge in your vaginal area during your workouts and in any high impact activity, or coughing or sneezing. You can have leakage with coughing and sneezing too, and you feel like something's going to fall out. It feels heavy down there. An outie belly button where there wasn't one before. We talked about the bulge down your midline when you attempt a standard crunch, or it happens with planks too, because you're just not strong enough for a standard plank, and that abdominal cavity is going to be pushing out and through that loosening in your core muscles where that discus recti gap is. And I had that and I ignored it. I didn't even know what it was. I was like, ooh, that's weird. I guess that's just a part of my body now, post baby, and it's not. Don't normalize that. It's not normal. You need to be aware of it and start to do something about it. And maybe you look pregnant when you're not, right? You have that mummy tummy bulge, and again, that's the pressure going down and pushing your abdominal cavity out. None of this is normal, and it's very common stuff. So risks for pelvic dysfunction: having a weak pelvic floor, if you've avulsed muscles from your pubic bone during birth, if you've had a forceps delivery, if your baby's greater than 4 kilograms, it's about 9 pounds. If you had third or fourth degree tears into your anal sphincter as a product of your birth. If you had a long second stage of pushing greater than 2 hours. If you're older, having your second baby, and obesity is a big risk factor for pelvic dysfunction as well. Birth is like a marathon, right? Like, how long did it take you to push your babies out? You know, for me, and how hard was it? You know, did you train for that baby to come out? Did you train for birth the way you train for a marathon? Would you ever go and run a half marathon or a marathon without training? Like, you wouldn't finish, you'd get hurt, you'd have a whole host of problems. But for birth, because it's this natural process that everyone goes through all over the world, we think somehow we've decided that we're not going to train for it. We don't need to. But birth is like a marathon, you guys, and we need to start treating it like that before, leading up to it, and after. And, you know, they don't really make women like they used to either. You know, like we're raised as women to be strong, to be confident, to work hard, to push, to have drive, to be equal. So we push through our pregnancies. We push through our labors, and then we push to get back to the life that we had before, because we are not stopping. That is not in our personalities. but we're not training properly for it. We're not educating ourselves, and we're not allowing ourselves the recovery time like you do after a real event, right? You go home and you sleep. Well, after birth, you pull an all-nighter pushing this baby out, and then you don't recover because now you probably aren't going to sleep again for the next 10 years. So we need to start treating birth more like a marathon. So how does your anatomy link to your running postpartum? Running is a high impact activity, and if you think about, again, that pelvic floor as the bowl for your uterus, your growing baby, your bladder, your bowels, every time you're running, it's hard on it, it's loose, and it's going to not be supporting you. And if you're loading those tissues too early, or those tissues are weak, loading them is going to worsen the issue, or it's going to start an issue for you if you didn't have one before. If you run too quickly, it can weaken and start the issue. So there's the standard green light at 5 or 6 weeks after you have your baby, when you go check back with your doctor, and they give you the green light to return to activity. And I don't even know what that means. What's the definition of return to activity? Like I just talked about, like women were so used to pushing and working hard and not letting anything stop us or tell us we're not equal. And now we're returning to activity. Well, there's no guideline for that. Like, what does that even mean? And with the supermom mentality and the baby boot camps everywhere and all the groups on Facebook that you're part of, it's really hard not to compare yourself to others and meet yourself where you're at. So we push, and running too early is going to leave you with bigger issues, you guys. So you need to tune into your body. Look at those dysfunctions. Do you have any of those signs and symptoms? And you need to take it easy after. So when can you get back up and running? You need to see a pelvic health physiotherapist. At that 4 to 6 weeks, I don't know, I can't remember, it's 5 or 6 weeks, they give you that green light to be active again. It's a great point in time to go and see a pelvic health physiotherapist. They can give you a one-on-one assessment. They'll check the integrity of your pelvic floor. They'll check you for diastasis recti. They'll check how those muscles are all functioning and working together. And they'll give you a one-on-one plan to help progress you from that point of not doing anything to getting back up and active again. And that can be really, really helpful if you do want to get back to running, if you are a runner and you want to run and you want to be strong and fit. And I want you to ask yourself at that time too, like, do I really need to run? Is this really important to me? It's a good question to ask before and after. And some people will tell you, they don't recommend getting back to running until 4 to 6 months post-baby, because you need to get stronger. You need to allow your body to progress before you get back to running. But there's work you can do. I mean, that's not 4 to 6 months of sitting around on your couch, resting and relaxing. There's work you can do, and I'm going to share some programs with you after this of what you can do to get started and what you should be working on in that 4 to 6 months to start to work those muscles, those pelvic floor, those abdominal muscles, get them back strong and coordinated so you can run. But there's no magic time frame. Some people will wait 6 months and be ready. Some people will be ready at 4 months. Some people won't be ready at 6 months. They're not ready for a year. Everyone and every body is different. Every birth is different. Every child is different, Your body is different during every labor, and there's no magic number, and I wish I had, but there isn't. And just because you ran before kids or during your pregnancy doesn't mean that you're good to go at 6 weeks, 4 months, or 6 months. It's so individual. So what you need to do is tune into your body, do some research, learn about what's going on, and see a pelvic health physiotherapist if you're able. So how do you get started? I've got 10 things here that you can do to get back up and running safe and strong. And some of these you can start today. Again, number 1 is see a pelvic health physiotherapist at any point when you have concerns or you think you need more one-on-one assessment, always helpful. And I need to say that you need to see a pelvic health physiotherapist and make sure you ask questions when you go to book something, because you don't want to see a sports therapist. You definitely don't want to see a sports therapist or anyone who's not specifically trained in pelvic health, because they're not going to help you with what you actually need for this specific issue. You need to learn about your body and you need to start listening to it. So you're already doing that. You're here, you want to know what's going on, and you want to make some changes so you can get back up running safe and strong. Never train into dysfunction or pain. ever. And that's for any injury, your foot, your shoulder, your hip is aching. If something hurts, you need to stop. So many runners will just keep going because they're addicted to their run. They're runners, so they run. But that just leaves you way worse off than you ever were before. So if you guys are having some of these signs or symptoms, you need to learn about your body, listen to it, see a pelvic health physio, okay? Number 4, you need to meet yourself where you're at. Like I said, everybody is different, and when you want to get up and started, you do not want to start signing up for every summer race that's out there because you're going to be overwhelmed, overworked, and you're going to be injured. You want to meet yourself where you're at. So you want to get started moving before you get started running. You want to get to 5K before you get to 10K. You want to get to 10K before you get to half marathon. You really need to meet yourself where you're at and progress appropriately. You need to give yourself time and go slow. I want you guys to enjoy the journey. Running is a journey. Every run is helping you grow. It's making you stronger. And some runs are going to feel amazing and some are going to humble you, but you're going to learn from all of them. And you need to be patient with yourself and you need to progress slowly. I encourage all of my runners to work in 3-month training cycles, sort of regardless of whatever your goal is. You know, if you come to me and say, I want to run a half marathon in 6 weeks, I'll say, well, no, I'm not training you. I'm not interested in that because I think you need to give yourself time and go slow and get strong, and it's a journey. You need to take care of you. There's more to running than diet and running and exercise. You need to get sleep. You need to take care of your stress. You need to slow down. You need to take time, quiet, and do whatever it is that lights you up, that gives you energy. That is really an important part of getting back up and running and getting recovered after burn. So take care of you. Number 7 is connect with your core and your pelvic floor early. You can get started within the first 8 weeks connecting with your core and your pelvic floor. And I do not want you to do crunches and plank challenges, please. And what do you do when you want to get connected with your core and pelvic floor? The first thing you want to do is think about your form and connect with your breathing. So your basic form is being up tall. Like so many of us are hunched over at our computers, picking up our kids, nursing our kids, on our phones. We're always like this, right? If you can think about your posture, look how much you can come up, right? So a good thing to think about for where your neck and your alignment should be up there is make an L, and that's how far back your neck should be, generally tucked behind you. Okay, that's going to bring you back into alignment. Your shoulders back. And you want your posture up tall, like your mom or grandma used to always tell you, right? And just that alone is going to help you start engaging that core. Being like this is asleep. There is no connection there at all, and it's not helping you in any way. And I see this so much as a physiotherapist in the kind of practice that I actually work in, which is more geriatrics, is they have no connection to their core. And I help them recover from spinal fractures and hip replacements and broken hips, and they're all like this, like they have no connection. Get connected with that, you guys. Get up tall, and breathing is key. So first thing you're going to do, I can just teach you this really quickly, is you're going to put your hand on your belly and your hand on your rib cage at the side, and all you want to do is sit up nice and tall. You can sit, you can stand, whatever position you're in. I want you to take a big breath in. As you breathe in, you're going to feel your belly and your ribs expanding. I want that air to come all the way down. And this is harder than it seems when you're getting started because you need to relax all these muscles. You need to let that air get in. So you're going to breathe in and then out. And when you breathe out, you're going to feel those muscles engaging underneath your hand. And that's that connection that you want. So you can be doing this all day, right? So breathing in, expanding, relaxing. Breathe out, engaging, connecting your brain and your muscles in your core. And it's not all about Kegels, you guys. Oftentimes people will want to do Kegels and they'll just contract and contract and contract. And I know there's a lot of people out there who are just too much contracting. There's too much contracting going on and you're just hypertonic in there, and that's not good for you either. And number 9, it kind of goes along with form, alignment, and breathing, is move more every day and be mindful of your core in everything you do, because your form, your alignment, your core is a part of your day, right? You're sitting at your computer, you're picking up your kids, you're going shopping, you're pushing your stroller. All of these things are about your core. It needs to function, it needs to be turned on, and we all need to move more in our day. So even if you're 5 years post baby, if you've been sitting in a desk for 5 years, you need to get reconnected to that core. And take your stroller, push it forward and pull it back. You're going to feel these muscles engaging in here. Move more every day, you guys. So important. So many people will sit at their desk all day and then they'll go for a run, and you're going to run the same way, right? Like, you need to be up and moving. That 30 minutes of activity is great, but what do you do the other 23 and a half hours of the day, right? And then number 10 is never just start running. Don't just get from couch to running, or please don't only run in your program. You've got to connect with your core. You've got to connect with your breath. You've got to do some strength training in your program. If you run and run and run, you're going to get injured. It's only a matter of time, and I see it all the time. And I know runners were the worst for this, because we love running. We love the high from running. We love the freedom of running. We don't really like core training, and it can be boring. We don't really like strength training, but it is a critical piece of your training. And I can't stress enough how important that piece is to get you running faster and stronger and keep you injury free, because there's nothing worse than getting injured. Nothing. If you've been injured, you get it, because then you can't do anything, and it sucks, and you're miserable, and you're grouchy, and I don't want you there, especially when you're a mom. It's even worse when you're injured and you can't get to the gym. And my bonus tip for you guys is, don't just download a Couch to 5K app, please. Because it does not take into account strength. It does not take into account pregnancy. It does not progress slow enough for you. Those intervals ramp up too quickly. And yes, they work for some people, and everyone's on their Instagram account telling you what day they're on and how great they feel. But so many people get injured with that Couch to 5K app. Please don't just download it and do a free one. Get a good, slow, progressive program. I have lots. Please let me know. I can get you something. So let's review, you guys. We talked about women's health anatomy. We talked about the signs and symptoms of the dysfunction and what you need to know about it, and how you can address it in yourself, what you need to know. We talked about how your anatomy links to your running. When do you get back up and running? How do you get started? And the 10 tips you can do to get back up and running safe and strong right now. I always put these up because I love them, because running, you are crazy. It's a runner's favorite compliment. If you are a runner, you're going to run, and I want to support you. I want you to learn about your body, and I want you to get back out there, because running is freedom. Like I said before, there's nothing better than a good run. And fitness isn't about comparing yourself to anyone else. It's about being better than you used to be. I have to remind my groups about this constantly. I'm always reminding people about this, because it is so hard. Social media is so great on so many levels, but it's so hard on other levels. Fitness isn't about comparing yourself to anyone else. It's about being better than you used to be. You can't exercise your way out of a bad diet. Didn't even talk about exercise today, but I cannot tell you, if you were up and you were running and you want to lose weight and all those other goals you have, you cannot simply exercise your way out of a bad diet. Sometimes diet is the hardest part. That's a lot of information, you guys. So what did you learn? What did you like about this presentation, and what are you going to implement starting today? Are you ready to get started? So if it's time for you to change, if you want to get started, I have a Getting Started 28-day challenge starting soon. It's Running Moms 101. It is about getting started. It is not about running. It is not about crazy strength training. It is about creating a movement habit. You can't get running until you are moving 3 or 4 days a week consistently, until you getting out and moving in a structured way in your week is a part of your life. It's a part of your week that you crave. So many people join my Learn to Run programs, my 5K programs. They pick a rigorous, structured training program, because that's what it takes to get to 5K or 10K or half marathon is rigorous, sort of rigorous training. Like, you have to get out 3 or 4 days a week without fail. You have to put the work in to get there. And so people aren't ready for that yet. They sign up, they got the program, and then they just aren't putting the work in. So they drop out, they feel guilty, and they feel worse off than before they started. And so I started this group. It's a Getting Started 28-Day Challenge, because it is simply about putting work in. I'm going to provide you with a strength workout. I'm going to provide you with some core training. Every week I'm going to give you a core safe workout to get you connecting yourself to that core. And I'm going to give you an interval training workout. So if you're running, you can push your running a little bit. If you're already running, you can push that run a little bit with some strength work in there. Most importantly, it's going to have some weekly meal ideas. It's going to have some weekly health challenges, because I know that fitness and health is about more than diet and exercise. And the two huge reasons that people often struggle in their running and their health is that they're not sleeping and they're stressed. So they think they're too busy to fit their workouts in, and it's this negative cycle. It's this negative downward cycle. I don't want you to experience that. I want you to start somewhere, meet yourself where you're at, and go from there. Make movement a habit. Focus on your form, focus on your consistency, focus on your breathing and your core, get connected, and then of course get unlimited motivation, support, and professional coaching, which is my signature of my Running Moms programs. I love what I do. I love these programs. I always train along there, out there with you guys. I do these programs almost as much for you guys as I do them for me. So this is going to be a really fun one, and it does have the potential to change your life, you guys. It does. If you decide it's time to change, if you decide you're going to commit, and if you decide you're going to show up in the group and participate. And I am implementing some kind of stringent rules into these groups. If you sign up, you need to participate. I need to hear from you. I know you're busy, but you're going to commit to this, so I need to hear from you in that group almost every day of the week. I need you to check in, and I need you to tell us how you're doing, and I need you to be commenting and supporting others in the group. That is critical. It's a critical piece of my programs going forward, and if I don't see you doing that, you're going to hear from me, and you might be asked to leave the group. I also want everyone to be positive and have a positive outlook. And I don't mind. I love when you share your challenges, because you're going to realize that you're not the only one with that challenge, and we're going to help you work through it. But I do want you to remain positive and promise yourself that instead of saying, oh my God, I had a bad day or a bad week, I'm going to quit, you are going to stay positive and you're going to keep going instead. You're just going to put your shoes back on. You're just going to keep moving forward, and you're not going to just drop out, because I don't want that. I feel too bad when you drop out, because I know it's hard. I know you have a lot going on, but I know that you want this, and I know that you can do it, and I want to see you succeed. So I want that's how this program is going to work, you guys. It helps when you can take out some of the other noise of Facebook, and I'm going to encourage you guys also to sort of take yourself out of some other groups and just focus on this and yourself for 28 days and see where you are after that. So what now, you guys? Do you have any questions? You can ask here. If you're live on the webinar with me in the group, then I'm here live for a little while. I can take your questions. You can also email me at carrie@runningmoms.com. Please feel free to book in a free call with me so we can talk about what's going on with you. We can help you set some goals, and we can set you up with what you need to do specifically to get going. Don't forget to join our private Running Moms community by going to runningmoms.com. And I hope to hear from you guys in there. I hope to see you in the 28-day challenge. I hope that you're ready to commit to some change and to get going and get started, you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I love doing these. I love sharing my knowledge with you. Thank you, and I love all your feedback. So if you have any feedback, give it to me, how I can make this better. My goal is just to be bringing you really good quality, real information that you can apply. Okay, take care.